And I just started to get a sense of the experience of solidarity and communal identity that people in communal cultures have, both then and today. And I started to realize that what we see in the Old Testament, when we see poverty in the Old Testament, when we see a call to embrace a stranger or to feed those who don't have food, it's addressing a crisis of solidarity. As an Australian Canadian, I read it as charity. But for communal cultures, it's about solidarity. If someone's hungry, it's a crisis of solidarity. It's not a crisis of social welfare, it's a crisis of kinship. If someone is enslaved and mistreated, for the biblical writers, it's a crisis of kinship. They should be enfolded as family. If someone is living in your area, doesn't have enough food, and God says, leave them the gleaning for the fields, it's really saying you have a responsibility to enfold them like a familial responsibility toward them. This isn't charity. This is sharing what God has given with a certain common identity. And the reason is this is what you do for family. With family, you share. With outsiders, you don't. And so because this principle with families we share, with outsiders you don't, in the ancient Mediterranean world, when the Bible says share, it really is code for saying enfold them as family. When the Bible says welcome a stranger, it's really code for saying enfold them as family. You know, when the Bible says there should be no poor among you, to this ancient Mediterranean communal culture, that's really saying, hey, treat one another as family. This is a crisis of solidarity. And your brother and sister isn't just a person who, you happen to be living with in the same house, but I, as the God who gives generously, is asking you and requiring you, as the God who has embraced you as family, as your divine kinsperson, to embrace one another, especially the vulnerable. And this is the beautiful thing, Mike. This is a beautiful thing about biblical ethics. Whether it's Old or New Testament, it always tilts towards vulnerability.
Mm.
It always tilts towards embracing and folding the outsider as family. And why? Because this is the character of God. You see it in the Exodus event, where God chooses and emancipates this enslaved nation, a people group of nobodies, and God makes them family, carries them on eagle's wings. And then what happens when you get to Sinai, or what happens when they receive the law, is all of a sudden God is creating this family, this community, this nation indeed, to be a community that's beautiful, that's living as God designed humanity to live in community with one another in the first place. In a nutshell, as kin.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out this video clip from the Dogado podcast. To get more videos like this, simply subscribe here on YouTube. You can also download the full episode of each show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or your favorite podcast player. Take care.